Okay, so tonight on my way home, I got a call from my daughter who was driving home also, and her battery light came on the dash, and as she got closer and closer to the house, things got dimmer and dimmer. She did know to turn the fan down and then just turn off any electrical things that she didn't need, but by the time she got home, the car was pretty dark. Not much was on, but she did make it home. So I guess the alternator is probably bad. I had her throw the charger on there when she got home. So it's going. It's at about 60%. And I thought to start we could do some testing on the alternator. So thankfully on this vehicle, and I think on most domestic rear-wheel drive vehicles, the alternators are pretty easy to get to. Just a couple of bolts and pull that serpentine belt off and disconnect a couple wires and it should be good. I thought I would start by checking voltage on this hot lead back here. It should just be whatever battery voltage is while it's on the charger. And let's see here. So when we connect the probe, if I can do this one-handed here, to this terminal, while it's measuring DC voltage, it's like 12.2 volts, so it's low. It's still charging. I'm gonna start it up and let it run and measure it while it's charging, see if we see a difference in voltage. So let's get started on that. So we just started it. The battery light's not on, so that's good. I would guess if we turn on some more accessories, like turn the fan on and do some other stuff, that battery light would turn on. And it may be that the alternator's charging sometimes, but let's check what that voltage looks like while the battery is charging. So right now it's on DC, and see if we can manage this one-handed. Yeah, I can't. I need to get a tripod if we're gonna keep doing YouTube videos. So yeah, voltage is at 11 volts right now with the battery running and the alternator charging. So I'm gonna shut it off real quick. Okay, so we got this thing pulled in. It definitely seems like it's the alternator, so we will get started on changing this thing out. It looks like we're gonna have to take this air box off here, just because the tensioner on the serpentine belt is underneath there. So I will get this thing loosened up with a flat screwdriver, and then this one as well. Okay, there's that one. Well, there's a whole bunch down here. No wonder it's hard to pull off. So I got that out of the way. And then this tensioner is right there, the belt tensioner. So we'll put I think that's a 15 millimeter on there. We'll put that on there and then get this belt out of the way. Okay, we got the belt off of there. And I just used a breaker bar. I don't have a special tool for easing the tension off of with that tensioner there. And we need this 15 millimeter socket to loosen these two bolts. So we'll do that. I'll try and do it as cool as Chris Fix does it, but I don't think it'll be as good. Okay, so there's those two bolts, nice and loose. You can just take those out, pretty long. And then the last thing is just to pull this clip off of here. It's just got a little, just lift this piece up and it'll pop right out. And we already disconnected this wire, so now we'll just have to kind of get it. It's tight in between these ears. We don't want to snap these ears off of here, so we'll just use a medium-sized pry bar to kind of lift this out. Oh, I disconnected the negative terminal on the battery charger. Figured I could get the battery charging up while I'm working on changing the alternator. Okay, that's nice and loose, and we can just pick that up out of there. So it spins nice and smooth. Might just be a voltage regulator in here, but I'm willing to just swap the whole thing out. The car's got a lot of miles on it, and my daughter drives it every day. So I'll grab the new one and we can, well, before we do that, I think I'm going to try to tap these bushings just a little bit to give us a little more room for putting the new alternator in there. I'll get a punch and a hammer and just tap on those a little bit. Okay, so I've got the new alternator here side by side with the old one. I just wanted to verify that they're the same size, because there was one alternator at the parts store that was like 112 volt or amp alternator, 12 volts obviously, and then there was one that was almost 150 amps. So I did go with, oh, this one says it's 130 amps. Oh no, max 158. So I did go with this one because she has the rear air conditioning and some LED lights and things. So figured getting some more juice would be better. And then it does look like this is the same size of alternator, same height, and the castings are a little different, but looks like all the bolt holes will line up, so that's good. And I noticed this interesting label on here about connecting the alternator if the battery's not fully charged. So we'll get that battery fully charged here while we're working on it. Before I drop this in, I think I'll do a repair on this and get it a new eye on there, and then heat shrink it and all that, while I've got some room in here with the alternator out. So I'll get that done off camera real quick. Okay, we got that new eye on there. It's all shrink wrapped and crimped and ready to go. So let's drop this new alternator in here. Try not to drop it. I was able to get these bushings pushed back just a little bit to help it settle into place there a little easier without breaking these ears off of here. So that's good. Now we'll just put these bolts in here, get them started, and good. That's good. We'll get those tight, and then we'll throw that belt back on there. Okay, as you are tightening these two bolts, be aware that these bushings that we tapped out here are going to start creaking, and as you're ratcheting, it sounds and it feels like something breaks, but it's just the bushing sliding back in tight against the alternator inside the hole in this bracket. So that's nice and snugged up, and now we will put the serpentine belt on. There, if the belt came off too far, you'll be able to tell how the serpentine goes. This is, let's see here. This is how ours works. So just loop it around, and this process is probably about the same for any oops, sorry, my finger's in the way, for any Suburbans or maybe Chevy pickups or anything that's got the same engine, similar gears, maybe minor differences, but I'll try to get this serpentine belt on and bring it back for the final connections, and then testing to make sure that we're getting the right voltage out of the alternator while it's running. Okay, we got that hooked up again, and it's running now. So yeah, it's putting out 14.5 volts. Before, when it was running, it was only putting out 11 volts. So with the old alternator putting out 11 volts, that makes sense. So anyway, I think this is going to work for us. So thanks for watching.